Although the situation I was in was bad, I still feel like I'm a survivor because, for one, I'm still here. And even if I wasn't, I still feel like I did all it took. I did what all I could to prevent the situation from going any further.
Well, I think, everything kind of happens for a reason. Of course, something as traumatic as that, you would never want to wish on anyone. However, it taught me so much. It taught me to be strong. It taught me to not always go with what everyone else is saying and go against the grain. It made me stronger because I found a voice. I never had a voice before.
Gender-based violence is something that happens disproportionately to women. It includes sexual assault, teen dating violence, domestic violence.
I think it can take forms from really severe abuse and sexual assault to more minor, what people consider minor, but I think that any verbal aggression towards women could be sexual violence.
Gender-based violence is violence that happens disproportionately to one gender, and it's inclusive of sexual violence, domestic violence, and dating violence.
Historically, as a society and as human beings, we've sort of relied a lot on power and control. It's been exerted upon women because of patriarchy in our society. I think that's one of the biggest reasons why gender-based violence occurs.
I think it's become so entrenched in our system, and I think it's hard to change because certain people reap benefits from women being kept in their place, would be a way to think of it. And violence is a really effective, or even the threat of violence is a very effective way to keep people subservient and in their place. And
it started my sophomore year. I was dating an older guy. He was per se 26 at the time, and I was 18. He started finding me more and everything. So basically, it's like it was different situations I was put into that I didn't feel comfortable with, but I had to deal with it because that's what he wanted me to do. So if I didn't, we would fight, things like that. Like he even had another girlfriend or something, and me and her fought. It was like a lot of drama.
At the age of 16, a family member, which was my first cousin, is where I experienced a gender-based violence. I came home from school one day, and unexpectedly, he told me to go upstairs, change my clothes, and come back downstairs, not knowingly that when he came back, when I came back downstairs, that he was fully naked. The abuse went on until I was 18.
When it happened, she felt like it was her fault because she had gotten too close to somebody who her mother had warned her to stay away from. And I helped inform her that it wasn't her fault, that it's never the victim's fault.
Ages 16 to 24 are the highest age population that is being affected by these things that we're talking about, dating violence, sexual violence, and domestic violence.
It affected me negatively. I hated how I look. I hated everything about me. I didn't like the way that I talk. I didn't like the way that I look. I didn't like the way that I dressed. Nothing satisfied me because of the abuse.
There's something called post-traumatic stress disorder. That is one of the biggest impacts in terms of trauma. And so what they found out is that not only soldiers or war veterans have this, but people who experience sexual assault, people who experience domestic violence, also have these same symptoms.
A lot of things, especially trauma, gets stored in your brain as images, and it can, especially with survivors, it can become very hard to put words to those images because they are very strong images that sometimes inhibit you or paralyze you in a way. And so art gives you that space to bring those images out as images and kind of let them be.
Art therapy is the use of art with a trained art therapist, and trained meaning the person has gotten their educational degree or a master's in art therapy. And so art therapy can be used in groups or individual settings. It's basically using art as a way of talking and communicating and healing about things.
I think all forms of art can be very effective. I think art itself is such a powerful tool.
What's sometimes really great about art therapy is that it's using both sides of your brains. It's using your left and your right. So to process one thing, and it allows you to use your whole body in that kind of way, which sometimes talk therapy doesn't just allow you to do because it's just using your left hemisphere.
At first, I had no clue what art therapy was or what the aspects of it was.
I thought that they were talking about drawing and painting, and I'm not an artistic person at all. But when Ms. Tillett explained to me that you can use poetry and just photography, I got excited because I had never used photography before, and I love poetry. So it was a mixture of something that I'm used to and something that I'm not used to.
Before Girlfriends, I would kind of sugarcoat what I was saying, so it's like everybody could really figure out what I was talking about. Like they might have an idea, but they weren't for sure. But within Girlfriends and after Girlfriends, it was like, bam, this is what it is. This is what I'm going through. This is exactly how I feel.
Sometimes it was difficult for me to really communicate and articulate certain things about how I felt. And what I began to do was in the moment when I felt sad or when I had a bad day or when I had bad news, I would capture the moment by taking a picture. And when I look back, words sometimes can't express everything, but a picture can say a million words.
I had a boy I was working with, probably about 13 years old, and he had been in inpatient hospital because he tried to kill himself. And he was what I would call, you know, kind of an odd kid. You could just see he was the kind of kid who probably didn't fit in real well. He probably got made fun of at school and so forth. But one day he just decided that he wanted to do something different for that day. He wanted to build a fire, is what he said. So we had like a wood shop area, and we went in there and we started gathering wood in there, started building a teepee kind of thing again. Got out some clay and made some like stones for this fire ring. And then he had the idea of he unwrapped some crayons and took the paper off those and put them at the top of the little teepee to make like flames. And once after we had built it, I said, okay, I wonder what we're gonna burn in this fire. Now we have a fire, I wonder if we're gonna burn anything else in it. And he said, like without hardly a blink, he said, evil. And I went, where are we going to get evil to burn? And again, he didn't say anything at all. He just went.
The art therapy really changed me in so many ways, and I definitely saw a dramatic improvement in just my healing process in general. And it gave me a different form of expressing myself and to allow others to see how I felt by the way of art.
At times I thought like my self-esteem kind of lowered, but then I thought about it. I'm like, I was not raised on these standards, and I wasn't raised like this to obey a man that's trying to control me or try to obey him in any way. We should be equal. It was hard for me to sit back and say, no, this is okay, when I know in the back of my head and in the front of my head it's wrong. So it was like, I thought of it like, it's my life or it's his life. Either I could save myself or I could get hurt in the situation.
Art itself is a way of expressing yourself. You can do anything with it, especially if you're coloring or, you know, painting. You can go crazy and people can tell exactly how you're feeling, and it helps to communicate to other people way better than talking to them would.